What's up, YouTube? It's Joe here, Joe DNS. I'm a Twitch variety streamer at twitch.tv/Joe_DNS. And today I'm going to be doing an in-depth breakdown of the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer from Summer Games Fest that came out yesterday. If you're enjoying the content here, please like, comment, subscribe. And come check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Joe_DNS. Thanks a bunch.
We're still here at the scene of this terrible disaster.
So this isn't Platefall. Right, this is Midgar Sector 2 news today. This is after, the music gives it away, right? The background music. This is the music from the Singularity, when you fight the big hulking plot ghost monster. This is that's the music from this. So that's the destruction it caused to the city.
Caused by a massive tornado which swept through sectors 0, 1, and 2.
So you've got Barrett, Tifa, and Red all going into medevac. Their faces aren't covered, so that means they're probably not dead. Because if you're dead, they cover your face. Except that they want us to see the faces. Although Tifa's boots would have given it away. If that was her. So we don't know the exact continuity of this whole situation.
Amidst the wreckage of the expressway, search and rescue operations are already in progress.
Although if Shinra got a hold of them, they wouldn't excavate, or they wouldn't let them out. So possibly some of the Wutai shit that we saw. It's a possibility. If they're just hurt, and there's some Wutai people who recovered them, or whatever, and this is the ensuing shenanigans. Because that looks like a shipping crate, although it could be an exit gate.
Even after everything we've done to it, it's...
But I still think... Okay. So, the timeline's going like this until you get to Chapter 18 of Remake, right? And at Chapter 18 of Remake, you go into the Singularity, and you break fate and destiny. And that sends you into an alternate future. Sends the entire party into an alternate future. So the beginning of this trailer doesn't necessarily mean the party is dead or anything of the sort. It just means that the future from what we knew has now been changed. So that the original game in its entirety still exists. But right now, this is the inflection point where we're going to start changing some stuff. And it's not like necessarily major changes, although I think there may be some of those. But yeah, I think we're looking at an alternate future, but not like dual track, multiple timeline weirdness, because that just gets too fucking convoluted.
Still going strong.
Because you got to remember, this is kind of also partly the future of the company. They're kind of like hinging it on this and 16 right now.
It may look that way, but in reality, it's barely hanging on.
Okay. Planet's still dying.
Was wondering.
All right. So this doesn't look like Calm. This looks like it's possibly outside of Calm, between Calm and Crystal Caves. I don't know what this little village is. I don't know what that is. Although that could be Fort Condor, like way off in the distance. Could be. Not sure.
What's Cloud been doing these past 5 years? Where's he?
These environments, by the way, are absolutely gorgeous, and the music in this is impeccable. I also want to point out, like, there's the goal. That's obviously a side quest. So what's this? Is this another point of interest? Because they're not going to show the mini-map in the trailer. You know, that's the right trigger toggle is the mini map, and then it cycles to this where you can turn it off entirely. But they're going to show you large open space, but they're not going to show you what the map looks like. They don't want to spoil you on that shit.
And you're asking me this?
This is
This
fucking
gonna sound
gorgeous, though, by the way.
But as far as I know, Cloud was never.
That was
in
obviously
Nibelheim 5 years
Chocobo
ago.
Billy's ranch. This, okay.
Cloud was
Riding chocobos, this has to be between the ranch. And they said they take a lot of inspiration from Horizon. The game director says he really loves the world building and the open world style of Horizon. So this may be between the Chocobo Ranch, because in this section of the game, we don't see anything past Cosmo Canyon. And thus far, we haven't seen anything, and there's no real point during the original game, which is my frame of reference, where you can ride a chocobo. So logically, this would be an area that's between the chocobo farm. Say the chocobo farm is down here where my mouse is, and then the Midgar Zolom is somewhere up in the distance up here, up in front of us, which on the original map was like a distance that far. But now we're going to actually have to run it 1,100 meters, so over a kilometer. This is going to be a big open zone, which is kind of how it was in the original game. Because to get to the next area, you had to go through the Mithril Caves, and then to, not Cosmo Canyon, I said, or no, and then to Fort Condor, and then to Junon, and then from once you left the Mithril Caves, you had to go back through the Mithril Caves, and there was no way back because you didn't have a chocobo. So then you had to go from Fort Condor to Junon, and then you had to go across the ocean to Costa del Sol, and then you couldn't get back to that continent again until you got the submarine, which is when you get back to Junon. So, like, I think it's going to be structured a lot in the same way, where you're limited. It feels like an open world, but you're very limited by transportation.
was never in Nibelheim 5 years ago.
In a lot of ways, it's like The Last of Us in that, like, right? Like, where it's not necessarily open, but you walk through a door and then a bunch of shit falls in behind you, and you can't go back the way you came. So you got to keep moving forward. So it's linear, but it can still be open. It's a wide linear narrative. This is going to be fucking cool, man. I'm really looking forward to old Bugenhagen here in his laboratory. And this is how we know we get to Cosmo Canyon. It's pretty obvious. This is Aerith's here, so this is the first trip to Cosmo. And I won't spoil, like, I'll try not to spoil significant story elements. Just, well, maybe, maybe not. But this is one of the stories that we're going to be learning along the way. And if you know, you know.
The very essence of our star. The blood coursing through its planetary veins.
It's a fantastic cutscene in the original, by the way.
According to Hojo,
Okay, so earlier I watched this, and I was like, I don't know if this is in the Mithril Caves. But then when we get into the combat coming up, you see this kind of, essentially this setting with Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa fighting against Elena and Rude, which is a classic face-off from the original game. Or no, they tell you to fuck off, but you're going to actually have to do a boss fight in this, apparently now.
Connected to Sephiroth. Shadows of the Man, I believe he called them.
It's Rufus speaking. I didn't clock it at first, but that's definitely Rufus. the president's kid from the first game.
Sephiroth was in Midgard. We
This
fought
is the calm flashback in the inn. If you've played Crisis Core or the original, you know.
him. Whatever happened.
It's Cloud
He's
telling
alive.
his story.
But why come back now?
Because he doesn't
After
want to be a
5
memory, my dear.
years, doing who knows what.
Well now,
There's one big story point that is going to get spoiled in this, by the way. And I want to know what the fuck this thing is. This is
Feast your eyes on the Turk's latest.
okay. This is very cool. This is 2 people in this party. So a lot of people were saying that it looks like there's going to be a Final Fantasy X style PHS system, and I thought that would be really awesome at first, but from a storytelling perspective, I've thought for a while that that's not necessarily the way they're going to go with this. Especially recently, and thinking back and how they handled it in Remake, because they want you to spend time with every one of the characters. They want you to spend time with all of the characters. So what this right here shows me is it's going to be somewhat like Remake, especially in certain narrative moments where you're going to be forced to split your party. So you spend time with a specific grouping. For sure. Now, in open traversal, I don't know. I think it would be goofy as shit to force you to use people in open traversal. Given how the original game went, you should be able to use whoever you want. But and that's going to make it even worse for the inevitable events of the game, because I really like a character that I know is kind of doomed. And if you don't know, you don't know, and that's fine, and I won't spoil it for you.
Feast your eyes on the Turk's latest and greatest. Elena.
Here we are.
New, but she's still a Turk.
All right. So there, let's back that up just a bit. I think this might be in the Mithril Caves. See? That's that same kind of area, or maybe somewhere close by, or close to the end, where this fight takes place, because that is a place where you actually encounter these two in the original game. And they don't want to deviate too much. They want to stick close enough to hang on to the nostalgia, but they also want to deviate enough to keep people like me who've played the old game, the original game, like upwards of a dozen times, guessing. But this would be where you would meet them. And in the OG, you kind of, Rue's just kind of like, oh yeah, I know you want to fight them, but fuck them. Like, we got bigger fish to fry. There's other shit we got to do right now. Let's let them go, and we'll catch up with them later. But this does look like it's going to be a full-fledged boss fight. Now, here, I've heard some people speculate, and this is like part of the PHS conversation that people have been having. Okay? People have been saying Aerith was hanging back behind the battle and she wasn't involved in the fight. Yeah, it's right around here. Say at the around the 220 mark or whatever, right? Aerith gets kicked here. Yeah, right here. Aerith is highlighted. These two are blocking for her. This is a cinematic shot. This is an in-battle cutscene. And I'm sorry the quality's so grainy. Yeah, let's hold there. Motion blur needs to get turned off on this. It's a little jarring. But it does look fucking clean as shit for a 1080p trailer. But Aerith is highlighted at this moment. She is in the battle. This is a cinematic cutscene where Aerith is going to shoot they're going to break apart, and Aerith is going to shoot between them at the Turks. It looks like the end of that boss fight, or a transition in that boss fight. Okay. I hate to keep going back like this because it's a little annoying. I understand it. But this, in Remake, Cloud's full operator mode, and it looks like he gets strong attack in operator mode, which was Punisher mode, only with strong attack in Remake, and the full combo was 5 hits. I think both full combos, either operator or Punisher mode, were 5 hits. This is wild. Maybe this is a command, although I doubt it because full ATB here and the sword's already swung once. This is crazy. I mean, it definitely shows a level up in Cloud's proficiency, for sure. But let's look. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. At least 9 hits in that combo with a standard attack. Cloud's just juggling fucking fools. That's crazy, dude. You're gonna be able to like just churn ATB at that rate. This here, I missed it. Shout out MJ Gallagher, among others. I don't remember who I saw that pointed this out. Phil Hartshorn. This is Junon, and this is the Junon cannon that ends up becoming the sister ray. And shout out to MJ Gallagher, that's the High Wind. That's eventually going to be our airship, I believe, at or around the end of this specific game story. This game's story. If we're in the Return of the Jedi arc that I think we are. Holy shit, dude. Okay. Sorcerer's Storm now looks like it has a bubble around it. Are we seeing that right? I think the full textures for combat aren't completely done. Like, it's not totally polished. And that's why they haven't put out a 4K trailer yet. But what's this dome? That looks like a Sorcerer's Storm, but it might be a containment field, which is wild. Because Tifa's outside of it, and it's Aerith, Cloud, and Tifa. And that's separate from... This is a separate scene. It's a quick cut, so it makes it feel like it's the same. But that's Red, Cloud, and Barret, where we see this wild Red 13 doing this whirling attack. Completely different scenes. It's a quick cut to make it seem like it's somewhat similar. Because, like, we're going frame by frame, but if you look at this in real time, that's some hard shit to clock at first glance. But yeah, what the fuck is this? What's Aerith casting here? Because there's Tifa jumping off of it. That's a cool team attack. That's awesome. I didn't even notice that at all until I started going frame by frame with it. Because I thought it was one of whatever she's trying to hit inside here that was getting bumped up against there. That's Tifa's foot popping out and using it to spring off. That's fucking neat, man. she just pops off the side of this bubble that Aerith has put up and just explodes down. Fist outstretched, boom. Also, music's pumping. I'm loving this. Yuffie, Cloud, and Red against a wolf of some sort. This was cool. I clocked this one immediately. I wonder what this means right here. This little diamond. I haven't figured out what this means as of yet. And it may be like who the companion is that you can sync with, that you can link with, or who's the party leader. Because I think the party leader is going to be the one that's able to issue sync commands, but I don't know that you'll be able to. Will you be able to? I find it hard to believe you won't be able to swap freely between characters, given how integral that was to the first game's combat. But we clocked this one on first glance of this trailer. Because it looks like they're together attacking this entire time. I just clocked it when they showed. Okay. Juggle up. Yuffie bounces up with a slash. It's in the air. She flips onto Red's back. He jumps. There's his paw glowing bright red, and she's got the purple. Okay, so I clocked that backwards. She's the first slash, and he's the inside slash. She's the purple, and he's the red. She's got this cross slash X, like, and he's just going big circle around it. It looks fucking fantastic. That's an obvious team up attack, and this I'm pretty sure is an end of fight cinematic, because or it's a team attack, and this little diamond over here is a signifier of who the party leader is or who's syncing with another character and what the control point is. Because if you're Cloud and you can issue commands to Barret, and it only uses Cloud's ATB and not Barret's, then can you move this around between party members as you switch between them? Because if you can issue commands in this commands menu while you're synced, that's going to be fucking neat. And what the synergy system is between these three, or any three of your party members, and whether or not that depends on your relationship with each other, is going to be an interesting thing to explore. I'm not saying it is, but I think it feels like that might be sort of where they're going. And it might be why Cloud and Barret seem to be more in sync than Cloud and Tifa, given what's coming up in the trailer. And I'll point that out when we get there. All right, this isn't my original thought, but if you've played Intergrade, and again, we've seen this trailer twice, so this is like an in-depth breakdown that I'm doing. Shout out Schrodinger's Baby Seal in his chat, where I was actually lurking earlier. The purple, if you've played episode Intermission, and this shouldn't be a spoiler if you've played the DLC for this game, or for the game prior to this. This is about to be a fight with Genova, and Yuffie freaks the fuck out. If you played to the end of episode Intermission, episode Yuffie, and what they're about to say it kind of explains why Yuffie's freaking out.
Keep her away from me!
They say she's a monster. That she can peer inside you, into the very depths of your soul. That she can become those you hate, those you fear, those you love.
Okay. So before we get to the next shot, which is a huge spoiler in my opinion, back to the Genova of it all. They say she can become who you hate, who you fear, who you love. In this instance, this is definitely on the cargo ship between Junon and Costa del Sol. And as I pointed out before, there are no legs. This Genova creature is airborne or hanging from the ceiling. It's definitely not normal, like the normal Genova that we've been encountering. It may be up here. I may have been wrong before, and it looks like I probably was. I thought it was airborne. It looks more like it's hanging from the ceiling of the ship. But Yuffie's afraid because she sees the purple, and her recollection of the purple mist is Nero. Meanwhile, this becomes also more relevant later on, especially if you know Cloud's story, especially in regards to this trailer. And this trailer is fucking fire, by the way. Holy cow. And after we read some dev interviews and stuff, we'll actually break down what's actually going on here.
Those you fear, those
you love. That line will be important here in a sec. This, listen to the voice. And that graphic. Right? The flashing. Who does this happen to all the time in Remake? That's Cloud. 100% that's Cloud.
You murdered my dad.
Shout out to Britt Baron in this moment. Slaying this performance. Holy shit.
You burned my village.
You know that I killed her. So, who is she?
All right. So if you've played Crisis Core, and Blackfish, I know you have, so I'm not spoiling this for you. Hojo did experiments with Genova shit on everybody. It's his fucking MO. Hojo just likes to inject motherfuckers with Genova. So Cloud has Genova in him. Sephiroth has Genova in him. Which is why that reunion clone was Cloud walking toward the reunion. Now, whereas Genova saw Yuffie's fear, Sephiroth is using the Genova in Cloud to try to sow doubt into someone he loves in Tifa. He's trying to drive a wedge between Tifa and Cloud. Again, shout out Baby Seal in his chat where I was watching this earlier. I clocked a little bit of that in that, Sephiroth's genuine motivation in general is that he's a master manipulator and he's there to fuck with Cloud almost exclusively all the time, every day. But yeah, I think that's a pretty solid breakdown with as few actual outside influences as I could possibly pay attention to, because I've literally I halfway watched Phil's video who clocked it was Junon. I saw a tweet on Twitter that it was from MJ Gallagher, and I was watching Baby Seal's video, or not video, stream, while we were on a family walk, while he was kind of breaking this down. And we had quite a bit of the same thoughts. So that's kind of where I am in this whole thing as of right now. And I haven't looked at any of the developer interviews. So that's what we're going to do next. Hey, appreciate you watching to the end. If you're enjoying your time here with this content, please come to twitch.tv/Joe_DNS. I do stream 5 days a week. And also like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate it, and see you in the next one.